One demonstrable cause of Dan's errors in this case is simply lack of knowledge. He just did not know what he was talking about. He had no understanding of the SAA's relation to the government, or any understanding of its funding sources, or any understanding of how the federal government funds archaeology in the US. Although he did seek out evidence for the SAA's funding, he looked in the wrong place, and when he read the SAA's statement for fiscal year 2023 appropriations, he did not understand what he was reading.
Hello, friends. Happy Saturday. I just wanted to hop on quickly and point you to a very good new video. My Latin is terrible. I never took Latin. Veritas, a Caritas, I think is how you pronounce it. So anyway, our friend Dan at Debunking, put out a video over the Christmas break that I didn't pay a whole heck of a lot of attention to. It was about a plea to Daddy Donald Trump to please defund the SAA, the Society for American Archaeology, because they were too political and they were using their archaeology money to push a political agenda. I mentioned in one of my videos that the SAA is a professional organization that is funded by membership dues and conferences and subscriptions and things like that. It is not a federally funded agency, but Dan insisted that it was, and that they asked for $450 million, almost $500 million from the American government, and that we should take that away from them because they are obviously misusing it.
In addition to this body receives large amounts of federal funding. In the fiscal year of 2023, the SAA requested over $450 million from the Senate Committee on Appropriations. They are using taxpayer funds to promote their political agendas under the guise of science. I am asking you, President Trump, to remove the Society for American Archaeology from its advisory role to the United States government and to reduce or remove their federal funding.
It's a ridiculous statement to have made, clearly by somebody who doesn't understand how these things work at all. And I'm very glad this video came out to explain it to you and to show you the sources that Dan should have consulted, including the SAA's own tax form, and also the main source that Dan used to come up with this number of $450 million, which is posted online, and I will put a link to it. The SAA is allowed to write letters to Congress or to the administration or to whoever they want, just as any other American citizen or group is allowed to do, and say, this is what I think you ought to spend your money on. And they gave in the bullet points the amounts that they think the government should spend on this and that and national parks and SHPOs and TIPOs and that sort of thing. It was a suggestion for appropriations. Dan totals all that up and says that this money goes to the SAA, and then the SAA picks who gets it based on these nefarious, cultural, political agendas, which is, of course, nonsense, total nonsense. And this is a guy who crows continually about how credible he is. He needs to walk this one back big time. And even when this video was being advertised, he doubled down on it. Let me find. Yeah, in this post advertising the video before it comes out, Dan says, I know it is funded primarily through membership dues. However, it does get about $500 million that goes through its hands a year. This is mostly divvied up among parks, museums, upcoming projects, and the like. It isn't how the SAA keeps the lights on. I don't believe I even implied that it was. When it comes to federal funding, the SAA are middlemen. No, they're not. They're not, Dan. You could have asked anybody this, any professional archaeologist, and they would have been able to tell you that this is not the case. The SAA does not decide or divvy out money to national parks and federally funded museums and things like that. It advocates for specific priorities, which is what any lobbying group is entitled to do, and any private citizen is entitled to do. If POTUS withheld that $500 million, it would force those individual sites, museums, and projects to petition the feds for funding on their own. Oh my God, read the letter. Here. Let's get to the letter. You guys should all watch the video, but this is the letter that he's getting this from. Statement of Society of American Archaeology for fiscal year 2023, appropriations, Interior, Environment, and Related Agencies Subcommittee, Senate Committee on Appropriations. The SAA once again appreciates this opportunity to present its recommendations for fiscal year 2023 Cultural Resources Program appropriations for the Department of the Interior and the USDA Forest Services. Those are government departments. The SAA is saying this is how much money you should give to those departments to work on archaeologically related things that are our field of expertise. The money does not go to the SAA. Department of the Interior, increased agricultural staff. So Dan is apparently reading this and adding these totals up as if the government gives the SAA this $450 million and the SAA gives it to the Department of the Interior. Like, go back to civics class, dude. It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Anyway, this video lays out Dan's claims in a very clear way and shows why they are wrong. That's just like 6 or 7 or something like that. So if the self-proclaimed credible Dan wants to keep claiming that he is credible, you got to clean up a mess like this one. You know, he got on Flint Dibble for misquoting a number. Here, Dan, here's 450 million reasons for you to walk this back and make another video where you put a big plate of crow on the table in front of you and eat it up. I don't know, guys. Read a book, use a dictionary, whatever it takes. Anyway, have a good rest of your day. Bye-bye.